these are called as equivalence partitioning. Okay, number of inputs of the users that it is. Similar way, that second example is also there. Testing guidelines. So you have to follow from the beginning all the tests that you should get executed. Here there are 4 points are going to be there in this. First thing is that the sequence in which you'll be going to get execute with the single values. Okay, that should be considered. Then different sizes. Example has been taken, previous example. Different sizes of the tests are going to be there. That means circles are there. Then that is different test is going to be considered. Then we have first and middle and last elements, the sequence numbers. In the previous example only this is also. Okay, so one of the things that you should consider, okay, testing guidelines it's being given. According to the testing guidelines that you have to check. See, zero length. In the example I said, that is username and password. If username is also not entered, password is also not entered, then if you are going to check for that, it's a zero length sequence it is. So that time it is going to raise the error message. It should raise the error message. Some guidelines will be given for the testing. First of all, you have to choose the inputs from the generator for all the messages. Means, see, you can test the program for 100 inputs, 1000 inputs also you can able to check. But if it is going to be lax together inputs are going to be there, it is very difficult to test that particular program. So at that time, the generator tool is going to be used for that, to test that particular program. The inputs are going to be buffered. Okay, the overflows are also going to be tested in this. So minimum length also you should check, maximum length also you should check. Okay, minimum input also you should check, maximum input also you should check. So always you should. So it means to say that where is the stop for that? That is what overflow is going to be. Okay, minimum overflow, maximum overflow. Maximum overflow is the task which is beyond the limit. Below overflow, that is minus, negative way, that it is also going to be tested. And continuously that you have to test, so that in numerous times that if you are going to check it, the output should remain same. And if you are getting the error rate should be same. And invalid inputs also you should give it. It is not necessary that you should give only the proper inputs. So invalid inputs, if it has been given, if it accepts, then there is a flaw is there in that. Okay. And too large numbers, too small numbers also you should give it. Example I said over the factorial program. You should check for all the functionalities of that particular program. These are testing guidelines for any general test that you can able to make it. The components are going to be tested here. Components are nothing but some objects we can say. Okay, some functionalities are already it is there. So only thing is that unit testing is already done on that. It's already component is there. Okay, there is no need of again checking that particular behavior and the specification. According to the specification only it is acting. Okay, already it is being checked, evaluated. So individual objects, individual functions are the components of that thing that it is going to get tested. Even if you test it, okay, it is going to give the proper output because already a component has been tested. Only thing is that where you have to test this one is when it is getting integrated with the other objects, other functions, then that time you have to test this particular component. There is what has been said in this interface testing. When you will be going to add some modules to the another program, then the integration testing or interface testing is done in this. Okay, so there is a chance of defects in the programs. It may affect the complete program. So to avoid that, interface testing has to be done. So we will be going to pass some data. For example, here there is one function is there which accesses only 2 parameters. But if you run give the three parameters, then it is not going to accept. The error is there in that. Then if it is accepting 3 parameters, if you are giving 2 parameters, then there also the problem is going to exist. So to avoid all these things, that you must have some interface testing tools where that you will be going to execute these programs so that you can avoid the errors. And especially in last point that which it is being given here, message passing interfaces. Okay, so the limit will be there in that. More than that limit, if you are going to pass the messages, it is going to blocks. Okay, it is not going to send that message to the receiver. Okay, so what happens basically is blocks that particular thing and says that input is going to be more, which it is not possible to pass the information to the receiver. So you will see here there are test cases are going to be there, interface testing. So A, B and C. Now you see that A and B interface has been done, is being tested, and A and C is also tested, B and C is also tested. Okay, all the test cases have been executed in this. And the errors, interface errors are going there. Where you can get these interface errors? Interface misuse. Okay, so unexpected interfaces, if it is going to be occurs in that, those you should not misuse that particular interface. Okay, functions will be there, that you should not misuse that particular interfaces. Then misunderstanding of the information. Okay, so that also which gets errors. Timing errors, it's nothing but within the time that data should be received. If you are not able to get that information, then error is being raised. Usually this happens in case of networks. Okay, so when you'll be going to send the message, but you'll not going to get the acknowledgement from the receiver, then within the time, if it is not going to receive, then the error is going to occur in that. For this also you have some guidelines. The guidelines for this are design tests, parameters. That's what I say. Parameters are going to be tested. Then pointer parameters, especially using null pointers and all these things, that it should be checked. Okay. Then if any component is not going to work, okay, functions are going to be not going to work in that particular component, then the failure will be there in that. So we have to test the component. And message passing systems is nothing but that's what you'll be going to have the email messages and all these things. So if the network is going to be not there, even though if you're going to send that information, it is not going to be received. Even sometimes what happens, it is the mails are going to be shifted to junk box. So even though you have sent, it went to the junk box, so it is not going to be seen to the sender receiver. So those things are going to be, some flaws are going to be present in that. So we have to test those things. System testing finally. Okay, so system testing is the complete system. It is going to be any integrated versions are going to be there, those things are going to be get tested in this. Interactions between the components, interaction between the functions, okay, and interaction between the modules. Okay, so timings between the two systems, input and output. Then input is given, the output, if it is taking a lot of time, so that also has to be tested. Okay, then the behavior of the system, it should not hang, the system should not hang. The more input is being given, the system should not hang for that. So those things are going to be tested. And individual process also going to be tested in the system testing. Yes, use case testing. Use cases already we have been studied in that. So you should test that particular use cases also, because the use cases are very, very important thing, because with that only we are going to test it. Already the use cases, when we will write Based on